I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at villageXchange@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
They do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Hopefully, no children have been led into listening to the first couple
gosh.
songs that we've done.
You know, when
I thoroughly enjoyed them, but I don't know if the FCC would.
when you upload these things to YouTube, they ask you, like, is this suitable for kids? Is it suitable for ads? And then they ask you if there's, like, cursing in it and stuff. I'm going to have to make sure I click on this is not suitable for ads nor for children.
It's not suitable for anyone.
Nick, what would your mother say?
I know.
All right. Next up is Shinedown-Simple Man.
Yeah, I think we've done this song from the band Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Oh, really?
I think this is a cover, actually.
Okay.
So there's that.
Now I
Okay,
have
guys.
to know. Search across your channel.
This
Simple
is
Man.
Simple
Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Man.
Yeah, yes, you're right.
Yeah. This is Simple Man, a cover by Shinedown. I'm pretty sure Shinedown's like a metal band. Okay, let's check it out. Nope, that's not the right one.
What a disaster. Following in reverse is going to block this now, right now.
I know, they block everything.
They're like, you
Shinedown,
constructed
Simple
those
Man.
letters to
Let's
spell
go.
our band name.
Well, Mama told me when I was young, said sit beside me, my only son, and listen closely to what I say, and if you do this, it'll help you some sunny day. It will. Oh, take your time. Don't live too fast. Troubles will come and they will pass. You'll find a woman and you'll find love. And don't forget that there is a someone up above. And be a simple kind of man. Be something for me, son, if you can. If you can. Get your lust from the rich man's gold. All that you need now is in your soul. And you can do this, oh baby, if you try. All that I want from you, my son, is to be satisfied and be a simple kind of man. Be something you love and understand. Baby, be a simple kind of man. Won't you do this for me, son, if you can? If you can.
Wow.
Oh, don't you worry, you'll find yourself. Follow your heart and nothing else. And you can do this, oh baby, if you try. All that I want from you, my son, is to be satisfied and be a simple kind of man. Be something you love and understand. Baby, be a simple kind of man. Oh, won't you do this for me, son, if you can? So baby, be a simple man. Oh, won't you do this for me, son, if you can?
Boy.
That was
is
deep.
some friggin' top-notch shit. I love that. I love when people put that much heart into their music. I was telling the girls today, I love any type of art battles, and covers to me are like art battles. Somebody did it, somebody else does it. Who did it better? I love that. Anything, if it's music, if it's rap, if it's dance, all that. When there's two people competing for the top spot, this song, I love this song. I wish they had a female version of this.
I'm sure if I googled female cover, it would be there.
No, not like instead of him singing to his son, it was to the daughter.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like what different things would you put in there or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also love the messaging of it, because things, I think for some reason, as we get older, we can make things more complicated than they need to be, or we can realize that simplifying them is better. And I don't know, I just pictured some
what?
Some like kind of like a sort of a country, like you'll see though, you probably don't see it in other states, but they have these cutouts of it's a black cutout of a cowboy. He's got one leg up on the wall, he's tipping his hat down. You've never seen them in Maine? It's like a cutout. They cut it out of wood and they paint it black so it looks like a cowboy shadow. You've never seen it?
But go ahead.
Anyway, so I pictured that, the sunlight's coming through, maybe smoking a little cigarette, and he's just trying to give him some advice. Like, just calm down. Like, sometimes I think that, so there was this there was a bunch of baby elephants, and they were like they were all out of control, and they didn't know what to do to bring them back under control. And then I guess they like dropped down like an older elephant that wasn't related to any of them, and he like freaking went in there and he was like stomping around and like flapping his ears and making loud noises, and it brought all those little ones back into some order, and it wasn't all chaotic like it was before. But the kids, without the leadership of the older elephants, it was just chaos. And sometimes I think that life has become, there's so much advice out there, there's so many channels on YouTube, there's advice everywhere, that I think we've lost simple advice from people that have walked, like there's not, you could go on YouTube or somewhere, you could get some advice, but the people that are giving you advice, they have a different makeup than you. Like, there's nothing like the advice of a parent, if the parent has done the work on themselves to change and to do the things necessary to become a more whole human being. The way that you deal with anger, you could probably trace that to your mother or your father and say one of them had that in them. Yeah. And so if that one were to advise you on anger, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, whatever issue that we have, like, I feel like that's lost. And so I really liked the simplicity of this. And I thought it was a father talking as the song progressed, but I forgot that it started out, well, Mama told me when I was young, which reminds me of, it's Proverbs 30.
Proverbs 31.
I was going to say 30 because
Proverbs
it's at the
31.
beginning of it. It's the mother advising her son.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the proverb starts out talking about the mom giving wisdom, and then wisdom is personified as a woman throughout Proverbs.
Right.
And that's because Solomon wrote it, and Solomon was a big mama's boy. So it's basically, Proverbs is basically a tribute to his mom, basically. So he says wisdom calls out in the street, and it's always she.
Yeah.
It's because, and then at the end you find out wisdom the entire time was his mother. And then it goes and describes the Proverbs 31 woman, which is basically what Solomon felt about his mother. So he's this giant tribute to his mother for the entire...
Wow.
That misogynistic Old Testament. It's... It is interesting because, I didn't grow up with my dad, so a lot of the wisdoms or, truisms that I talk about a lot all came from my... It's funny, like we were talking about in the previous song, how the N-word doesn't bother me, and it's because, when I first came to this country, that was the welcome we got. Oh, niggers! And I came home, I said, Mom, what's the nigger? What is that? And she said, that's what the white boys say when they're afraid of you. She's like, don't worry about him. Just hit
Such a good answer.
Hit him in the mouth next time, though.
Such a good answer.
So, the scripture says, honor your father and mother. So, little homie made a mistake. Da-da! But I had to honor my father and mother. But, like, it really just, and it simplified life for me. It was like, they're afraid of you. Just relax. Shannon Sharp talked about it with his grandmother. He says she told him, because they were in the South, like 30, 40, 50 years ago. She told him, it's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. So that was their, but it's really short.
Yep.
Not very complicated. If it was me, I would have said, okay, here's the etymological blog, and blah, blah, and
3
here's
hours
the historical,
later.
yada, yada, yada. And,
but that's helpful too, but I do think that the little quotes, something that you can take with you.
Give him an eye jammy was a lot more, and honestly, it just never bothered me after that. Like, I was a child, I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I took cues from my mom. She was like God to me, and so I just whatever. But he said something that was really interesting. Obviously, go find a woman, you'll find love. Don't forget there's someone up above. He said something like, be someone that you can love or something like that. Or be
that you understand or something like that.
Right.
Like,
be a simple kind of man. Be something you love and understand. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Because she didn't tell him be with someone you love and understand. She was saying him as to his own person. Be able to know, to love and understand yourself. And it's so funny because, we're having a running discussion with one of the kids about self-awareness and wanting to be XYZ person, but you're not there. You're not the person that you want to be.
Right.
So because of that, and you're trying to delude yourself into thinking that you've already made it. I said, look, you could eventually become that person, but you're not that person now. And so, because you're trying to play and be these different roles, you can't understand yourself. You don't know why you're doing what you're doing. Because I said, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why did you do that? And he said, I honestly don't know. He doesn't know because he's spending so much time, like, posturing and trying to be a certain kind of person and all the rest of it. And so, like, that is real solid advice that I don't know if people caught because it's so subtle. Be something you love and understand. Like, you got to understand yourself.
I was listening to some Jordan Peterson, and he was saying, secondly, I don't even know why people don't like him. That's so confusing to me.
Well, I mean, he got in trouble with the trans stuff, which is interesting because he doesn't dead name people. He was just saying it's not for the government to put words in my mouth, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
But he had trans students and he didn't dead name them. He went by the pronouns and the names that they preferred to use. He was just saying, it's kind of like me with this whole vaccine mandate. Like, I got a vaccine, but I don't want the government mandating that. Because anytime you give the government power, forget it.
Yeah.
But I love Jordan Peterson. So do you. Go ahead.
So anyway, so he was saying, it's so interesting as you watch his evolution as a person. And him, like, the more he digs in, the more he's finding that certain things are absolutely necessary and unexplainable otherwise. But anyway, he was saying, he was talking about having, like, not hating yourself and actually, like, loving yourself and actually looking at yourself as someone who can advise you and can help you get out of certain situations. Because if you're always just hating yourself and saying negative things to yourself all the time, then you're not going to take advice from yourself because you're not going to like yourself.
Yeah.
So you have to be kind to yourself, just like you would have patience for your friend that came to you with their issues or whatever. You got to have some patience for yourself to really help yourself be able to change. And he was saying, he basically said, like, there's talk that there's a spark of divinity in all of us. He had to, you know what I mean? Because why should I love myself? Why shouldn't I hate myself? Why shouldn't I just call myself a shitbag all the time? Why shouldn't I do that? And then, I don't say that. That just came out randomly. That was probably for somebody on the stream because I've literally never said that word before. So if that's you, that's for you. Stop calling yourself that. Anyway, so he said that if it's true that there's a spark of divinity, then we should treat ourselves with that level of respect. And at that time, like, you were in the store getting some stuff, and I was watching the people going by, and there was, like, this person that normal people would look at this person. I say normal as in just like the general population, and they would not think that this person was really very valuable. And I was looking at the person, and I was thinking, like, of the spark of divinity thing, and thinking how the spark of divinity is of more value than the entire universe itself. And that in that person, that somebody would be so quick to overlook is so much value. But because we've pushed off this idea that God exists or that God is real and that there is a spark of divinity in all of us, then you lose that. And then it's like you're struggling to find out what sort of value does this person even have? And so then we say, well, how much can they give to society, or how much can they give to me? And then that's where the person gets their value from. And then someone who over time struggles with mental illness or abuse, childhood abuse or different things like that, and they become maybe more and more detached from reality and less able to really put into society. And so then are they losing their value, or do they always have that value inside of them? Then obviously as Christians, we're like, they always have that value. So, this song kind of reminded me.
It's very hard to construct a worldview that retains value for a human being from conception to natural death.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult.
Right.
And it's... most of us, Christians included, are only worried about this slice in our timeline because it directly affects us. So, but most of us are not worried about doing that all the way. But I agree with you. But he's saying it, and what is this is one of the things that I struggle with a lot myself, is because, like, on the one hand, nuance is important. Like, people die for lack of nuance.
Yeah.
Right? So, for example,
absolutely.
One example would be the dichotomy between sex and gender. Right? One is objective, one is subjective experience, whatever. So, like, So part of me is like, no, you can't be simple. That's a very complex issue, right? But at the same time, you can be simple in that just love everybody, and that like flattens a lot of problems.
It does
for a lot of existential or philosophical questions. It flattens everything, right? And so, and that was something that you know, obviously coming up in our household, we had God bless her, my mother was bipolar, so. But when we had a lot of money, my mother would like literally, she worked at a mental institution, and she would literally take these people from a mental institution, and they would live with us. Or these kids went through these horrible things, and then she would, like really horrible perverted things, and they started acting out themselves. She would bring these kids around us, and she'd say, listen, this and this happened, okay? So if he tries to pull down his pants, like, whatever, but you're going to treat him good, or you're never going to talk about this ever. Like, so when we had resources and means, I saw my mother doing ridiculous shit. I mean, that girl literally, the woman lived with us rent-free for a year. We couldn't touch her bagels. Like, that's Anne's bagel. No touch Anne's bagel. Like, it was insane. Like, so, like, that simplified everything. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So I remember one time we were at the park, and it was like one of the first times that we were giving out, we're our friends in the park downtown, they're kind of, marginalized or whatever. And we were cooking burgers and all the rest of it. And a couple people from a couple churches were coming along. And somebody basically said, these people aren't here to hear the gospel. They're just here to eat. And my friend, shout out to DC, he was like, you mean like all the people that Jesus fed? Like, I don't need to interview you, bro, to like love you. I don't need to interview you to give you a hamburger. Here's what I know about you. You're in a part of the city, everybody mocks you, everybody's disregarded you, nobody has any value for you, and we believe that you're worth the universe, so here's this burger.
Yep.
I don't need the interview.
Yep.
I don't need you to say anything. And I don't care if you're taking advantage of me. I don't care. Because my job is to love you.
Yeah.
Okay, that simplifies everything.
It really does.
I mean, obviously,
really
when you
does.
get in a relationship with people, things get a little bit more complex. You're trying to good Nacht. Gut Nacht, I think is the way to say it. Later, Jans. But, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta simplify shit. And a lot of times, if you would simplify shit, like, to me, this whole slavery discussion I'm having with one of my friends, like, it whittles everything down. Love everybody, and then when you leave that person, or when you're out of that person's life, there should be times when they can say, I was blessed to know that person.
Yeah. Wow.
Because the seed of Abraham are characterized as being a blessing to the nations, right? So love everybody is internal and invisible. Blessing is external and visible. So blessing someone or happying someone is like the literal term blessing is what it means, to happy a person, which is kind of awkward in English, right? Is just the externalized form of loving them. So I don't need to know about, I don't need to know about pronouns, LGBT, I don't need to know about, black people, white people, cops, blah, 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 rednecks, Trump supporters, Trump not supporters, pro-life, pro-choice. I don't need any of that to love you. I will engage it if it's necessary, and if God tells me you got to engage this. But as far as like what side you're on and all this other bullshit, did you love this person, Vinny? And can they say that they've been blessed to be around you? And if either of those two are wrong, then you're off. And I don't care if you're right about any of the other shit. You're off. Right? Which is
well, I think sometimes it has to. It can be long talk. It can be long term too.
100%.
Because if you confront somebody on some destructive behavior, they themselves would say, "No, you didn't make my life happier because you confronted me, or you did an intervention, or you didn't go along with my bullshit." But if you're saying, "No, this is for your good, for like your long term good," then that's different. So,
but I do think that the universal understandings of blessings should come before the corrective blessings.
I agree.
Because I think if you've demonstrated in a real tangible way to people that you genuinely love them, I have found that you can say the craziest shit. to them.
I've
And
witnessed it so many times with you.
I've said the craziest shit in the world to Amy, and like we're still road dogs. You know what I'm
my
saying? So
gosh.
it's like, you know what I'm saying? So if you're a blessing to people, you kind of earn that right to say the hard thing if you have to say the hard thing. But I'm going to commit some blasphemy here because I remember this song, the original. I remember when we did it, and this was way better to me. Now here's a couple fun facts about this band. One is they grew up in the same hometown as Leonard Skinner. Leonard Skinner did the original, and I'm pretty sure the bassist married the guy's daughter.
Oh,
one
really?
of the guy's daughter. Yeah.
Really?
So like,
I
really
have
classic
to.
stuff.
I'm putting the
what?
I'm putting the Leonard one on for a second. I just got to hear his voice.
You found it?
He's doing a.
Oh yeah, you did that.
I know. I remember. This one's so much better.
Yeah, this one's so much better to me.
Yeah, me too. You know what it
Dwayne
is?
goes, "What did Vin just say?" I told you, people are gonna. This is blasphemous.
I've said it like over and over. When somebody puts their voice out like that, where it sounds like, you know, one person in the comment, I think it was Rob, said this is a little bit too kind of desperate sounding for him, or a little bit too much on the way he sung it. Oh, I just loved it though. I'm especially because I'm a parent. Like there's sometimes where I'm talking to my kids and I can just tell they don't get it. They don't get it yet.
Yep.
And when they don't get it, it's like, as a parent, you know, if you don't get this now, reality is going to teach you later.
Yep.
And, you know, your parents did the same thing with you, hopefully. But it's like, oh my God. Yeah. You know, but, you know, sometimes it's like, and you can tell, like, there's a certain look on their little faces when you know this is not it for them. They do not get it. They don't see the value in this thing that I'm telling them, and they think they know better than you do. Because one thing with kids is you're not going to tell them your whole friggin' life. Like, you're not going to tell them all the shit you did and got into and got out of. So,
yeah, I told them a lot.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to tell them everything. So, like, you've told them a lot more stuff than I have told them about myself. So I think that they look at, because you've been through all kinds of stuff, they look at like, oh, poor mom, you know, she thinks she knows. And I'm like, I know a lot more about this topic than you think I know.
Yeah.
And, you know, that you can just tell. But the way that he was singing, I think conveys the heart of a mother or a father toward their children, and that, like, a loving parent really wants the kid to get this understanding, and just... Some things are not like, I notice, like, for me, I make a big deal out of things that, like, when I pull back from, I'm like, that's really not a big deal. Like, why did I think that was such a big deal? And so the concept of living a simple life, I had the Hypa song up.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, these lyrics are not what I thought.
Here's the lyrics.
It's right here. I got it.
Yeah.
But, and even just saying, like, mama told me, like, it has that sort of simple sort of...
Yeah.
I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. My only son, she says.
Which is what the woman in Proverbs, what he said too. I was the only son of my mother.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah. There is... Look, man. Obviously, fathers have a role. Obviously. I'm never going to discount that fathers have a role. But, man... That wisdom that you get from a mom, like, that I got from my mom dropped so many pearls of wisdom that I use to this day, that it's just something different about it. It's just something really, really different about it. And maybe, you know, if I'd have grown up with my dad, like, holy shit, what kind of person I'd have been, you know, if both of them could get along and, you know, they didn't want to murder each other.
Yep. Yeah, because the kid is at a real advantage if they have both of their parents that their blood consists of. You know, I saw that you were having a real hard time when we weren't going to go on a vacation. And yeah,
I had a really hard time with that.
And I knew, like, there was nothing I could do to help you, and I really hated that. And the next time I brought the kids in so they could get tested for COVID, and then the next time I saw you, I expected you to be a lot worse off, because not only was that happening, but an extended period where you were just waiting for us to get out. But your energy was different. Or I got on the phone with you or something. Your energy was different. Then I found out you had gotten on the phone with your pops. And I thought, like I was so happy for you in those moments. But then I was like sad that you didn't have him when you were little. Because I agree, parents, advice from parents and like the sound of his voice, like when I was on the phone with him.
Yeah.
He just has a sort of kind of calming.
Yeah. My mom was on 10 all the
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is cool. But yeah, that would have been cool growing up with both of them.
I think I gotta say this about this line: forget your lust from the rich man's gold. All that you need now is in your soul. I think about the concept of money a lot lately, probably because we're crunching numbers and stuff. And so I think about that. I think about Kurt Cobain. I think about, how he was in that small little room. He had all that money, but he stayed in the room and he put his TV on a box and he lived in the walk-in closet. And how many people you've seen them, struggle their way to the top and then make it there and be so dissatisfied and so unhappy. And poor people think that the rich have it.
Yeah.
And then rich people say, we don't have it, but the poor don't believe it.
Yeah.
They want to think, no, if I get that, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
And the answer is not there. And, that's why,
But Kurt was the exception, though. A lot of those guys, when they got rich, they all bought mansions and shit.
Yeah, but they'll still say that they're not happy. We've seen it over and over and over in the songs.
We've lost a lot of people in the rock metal scene due to suicide.
And even
it's after they've hit the pinnacle of success.
And even, like, if you look at drug use and what drug use does for your perceptions and how much you can or can't engage in your life, like, you almost, I think it kind of puts you outside of your life. And you're not, like, living it, and the memory is not, like, there like it would be if you were, like, consciously living inside of it. And you hear a lot of them, like, going into, like, heavy, heavy drug usage. And it's like, well, why? You have everything that you wanted. Why are you going into heavy drug usage? And it just, I don't know, like, the mother saying, like, leave that. And that's why, because people quote that Bible verse all the time. The love of money is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
Well, no, they always say that money is the root of all evil. Right. And then they say, so why are the churches asking for money? And it's like,
it's the love of money.
It says the love of money, and people miss that all the time. And it is, if you love money more than you love people, then you're going to do some really freaking horrible things.
Well, another truism is you either love people and use money for people, or love money and use people for money.
Right.
And so, that's a
cutthroat, stepping on people like ladders to try to.
And that's why in our community, no matter what group, worldview, religion, non-religion you ascribe to, we've seen so many acts of generosity in our community, and it always gets celebrated. And obviously we had the big splash when all of us as a community were able to get little homie the guitar, but everybody in our community that's ever given is also supporting I don't want to say a bunch of kids. I think we're up to 3.
I thought there was 4, but
there might be 4 kids overseas who otherwise would have either been taken by the cartel or taken by sex traffickers, literally. And like, they've been doing that for 3 years. Like, our community, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and homeless people to get money from that, and also, whenever there's an option to like, you want to give groceries to the community or something, I always click the yes button because I know that all of our patrons are taking part in all of that. So yeah. I mean, it's.
Yeah. Money can't buy happiness, but it can make misery more comfortable. That's true. To a degree, it's true. He's right.
It is, but when I think that's at the beginning stages of the misery, because I think when it progresses, like, people would rather death than even any comfort that they can find. So that means it can't be all that comfortable, even if you have a bunch of money.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying that as an American.
And I was listening to, well,
like, I was
okay.
Just watching, I was watching this.
I am saying that as an American.
There's a Vice special about Nigeria, about the biggest slum in Nigeria. And I looked at the preview and I said, okay, I'm not going to watch it. Because there's literally no sewage. So they build their little huts over a river. And they literally just cut a hole in the hut and go in the river.
And then in the next scene,
Kind of smart, I guess.
you see a bunch of kids in that river.
Oh no! Oh my god!
Submerged, spitting water out of their mouth. Da, 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 da.
Wait!
In the
Is the river flowing down?
No.
And the kids are up?
No,
Holy shit.
they're right by the house.
Oh my
And it's
god,
like,
that's awful.
What the hell is going on? So money, that kid, you know, life expectancy, all those things, maternal death rates, like, let's not be crazy here.
No. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like America.
Americans have a certain baseline.
No,
of
you're right.
existence,
You're right. Yeah.
So like, you know, but I see what you're saying though. I agree. I don't think money can buy happiness, and you know, I've been in a homeless shelter, and because I lived in America, I lived way better than most of the people in the world did, even as a homeless person, because we just have so much capital. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people wouldn't look at it that way, but it's not me being a positive person. Like, that's just the reality. Mm-hmm. I mean, hell, I had Christmas presents, you know, when we were in the homeless shelter.
Right. Some kids didn't even get Christmas presents.
You know what I'm saying? And we got a sock and boppers, and we got a remote control car. Like, we made out pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, the whole Toys for Tots thing. So
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, the main issue is money is a tool, and if you're purposeful about what you're going to do with it, you're going to be good. This song is a 10 for me.
Oh my gosh. It's an 11 for me because I think it's very important. And I think that if the lesson can be grasped, you can have some... There's nothing like simple joy, I guess you could say. Simplistic joy.
100%. I think those are the happiest people on the planet, I think. People who are simple. You know? There you are, dear listeners. So a bunch of wisdom for you here. Shout out to DJ
Nick. We have no freaking clue what you're doing with the stream. 1 minute, people are, I'm not even going to say.
I know.
And then we have this song that's so freaking meaningful, I'm giving it an 11.
Yes. There you are, dear listener. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.